Agitorium nostrum in nomine Domini. Atheistic Communism by which Pope?
Pope Pius XI.
What year?
March 1937.
Let's begin this encyclical. Divini Redemptoris. Okay, we were going through the Bishop Williamson's chart, so let's continue that. The Pope's section asks why communists have succeeded so well in attracting support, not only from the downtrodden, but also from highly educated and well-to-do people. The Pope points to two things. First, communists always start by hammering at real evils: oppression of the poor, arrogance of the rich, corruption of government, right? Everybody knows that. Second, the advocates of economic liberalism paved the way by virtually destroying religion, especially among the working class, by openly despising the church, and at the same time using the semblance of religion to further their own oppressive denial of both justice and charity. Thus, multitudes of men urged to revolt against injustice are brought to believe that religion is their enemy, or at best irrelevant to their needs. Part of the tragedy, the Pope points out later, is that many of those who have thus betrayed Christ's brothers and sisters call themselves Catholic. So, what will Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, what will they call religion? Religion is the what of the people?
Is the enemy?
Religion is the opiate of the people. Opiate is a drug, just like marijuana, it makes you feel high.
Opioid.
So that's what they said. Religion is just made up to make men feel good. That's what they say. All right, so we're left off on studying the communist doctrine, its power, its results, the resulting horror. All churches, convents, art, and civilization are furiously destroyed. It is the natural product, 21. Michael?
This is the natural and inevitable result of godlessness, of a deliberate and thorough revolt of the Antichrist against religion.
Of Judo-Masonry, 23.
Communist Russia has advanced only through villains imposing slavery.
Yes, slavery in the name of freedom. You're going to be free. And they enslave men. Of Judeo-Masonry, 24.
We accuse not the Russian people, but the international conspirators.
Yes, the Zionists, Judeo-Masons, always the same crew, same rat bag. So yesterday, what's his name? A very high up official in the White House. What's his name again? Just wrote a public letter to Trump, and he resigned. He's a high up guy. Let me find it. So you have his name. Hold on. Yes.
That's it. It's
A senior U.S. official resigns, and his name is Joe Kent. So he had fought in Iraq, and he wrote a public letter to Trump and for the whole world. He went through the proper channels. It was all done correctly. with openly. And he says, this is an unjust war. We have no reason to be in Iran. And Trump is only acting by the pressure of Israel and the Zionists. So this is public, it's a world-shaking letter and a world-shaking action that he's resigning because he wants nothing to do with the Zionist dirty work. So that's a huge statement for the world, So this guy has some guts. So pray for Joe Kent. I hope he'll be alive in the next month. But more and more it's coming out, the Zionists. And that's why either they're going to be exposed and back off, or they never stop. So they're going to come out more viciously against Catholicism, which is why there's more, just in the past week, there's more. A Catholic was fired one of the ones working close with Trump. And this Senator Cruz comes out mocking Christ the King and blaming Catholics for using it as an anti-Semite program. It's just stupidity. So we'll see where this leads. But often, if God permits, it could lead to bloody persecution. So we have to be ready to, by the grace of God, die for the faith. All right, next section, church doctrine. So what does the church teach? A, Catholic teaching. B, its power. C, its results. So regarding God, man, family, society, and state, look up at paragraphs 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What do you see?
Regarding God, man, family, society, and state.
Yes, so what the communists teach about that. Now, the truth about it. God, paragraph 26, Anthony?
One supreme being, God, creator, and judge of all men, exists.
27, regarding man?
Man has a spiritual, immortal soul, sanctified by grace, with God-given natural rights.
Regarding family, 28?
Both marriage and family have a constitution and prerogatives laid down by God.
Yes, marriage is sacred. And God has something to say about the family. The father is head, the mother is heart, and they're to have the children God sends. Society, its purpose, 29.
God made man also for society, to make him happy on earth and develop his gifts.
Relations to man, 30.
As man must respect society's authority, so it must respect his God-given rights.
Very important point. 30. As man must respect society's authority, respect lawful authority, so the lawful authority must respect what? Man's.
God-given rights.
Yeah, so the state doesn't have the right to steal people's property because they have the right to their private ownership. The state doesn't have a right to come and take your children out of your house and force them to have government education, right? Society, as regards the economic order, 31.
Papal encyclicals of 1891 and 1931 explained capital labor relations.
32, its restoration.
The latter showed the true solution of today's problems: Christian justice and charity.
Regarding the state, 33.
Leo XIII showed how the state's origin, obligations, and relations to man are all from God.
Yeah, his origins are from God, obligations are to God, his relations must involve God. All right, B, the power of the Catholic doctrine announced by facts. 34, loud and clear, Gabriel.
This doctrine harmonizes rights and duties of all and ensures even material prosperity.
Yeah, so the Catholic doctrine harmonizes the rights and duties of all. It's the best. It perfectly fits for men in society, in family, and individually. The power of Catholic doctrine recognized by all, 35.
Even non-Catholics and communists admit the church's social doctrine is the best.
So even her enemies recognize this. Relief of the poor, its results, relief of the poor, 36.
Affirming men's brotherhood, it has undermined slavery and dignified manual labor.
Yes, undermine slavery by dissolving it, basically, by charity, and seeing each one, even the least, Christ in each one. And dignified manual labor. Manual labor is, our Lord did it. He sweat. He worked with his hands. So manual labor is sacred in a way, right? In a way, if it's united to God. Its results, the renewal of society, 37.
The church has engendered charities and admirable guilds, and has rebuked error.
Yes, so religious orders who take care of the poor, who teach, right? Admirable guilds, the great guilds, these have to come back, which is men and families who belong to a certain trade. Let's just say families who are carpenters, are plumbers. Well, they form a guild, put it under a patron saint. They pray together. They do religious exercises together. And they form the young men who are interested, like their own sons, in the trade. And those sons, when they get 18, they can either pursue and perfect the trade and stay with it, or learn something else. But if they choose to stay with it, they have already knowledge of the trade. They have an insurance policy because the guild looks after each other with charity. So if someone's house burns down, they all pitch in and help build a new one. See, that's the old guild system. We could say the Amish have something like that, even though they're not Catholic. But they have that kind of brotherhood that Catholics should have. If one of their barns burned down, they all get together and build a new one. That's how they are. So it puts to shame many selfish men of today. So, all right. And then remedy for liberalism, 38.
Liberalism's now crumbling edifice could only be raised by defying church doctrine.
Yeah, so liberalism can only be built up by defying church doctrine. The church condemns abortion. Well, we're going to have abortion clinics anyway. The church condemns organ transplant, which is murder. Well, we're going to do it anyway. It's a big business. So, all right, 3, application of church doctrine, 39 to 59. Need of application, need of conversion, virtues to practice, practical conclusion. So turn the page, 39 to 59. So see this, part 3, application of church doctrine. This whole section is zooming in on that point, part 3, on number 1. You see?
Yeah.
So now we're zooming in on this. It's quite ingenious what Bishop Williamson did on just 2 sheets of paper. Putting all this on 2 sheets of paper. And it's quite a good encyclical. It's not a small one. You see, it's not a small one. This little book, it has 42 pages. So, all right. So let's look at application of church doctrine, the urgency of it, virtues to practice, practical conclusion. The urgency of church doctrine, applying it. We need action in general, 39, Michael.
The church's teaching alone can save, but it must be put into practice.
Hence, 40.
Let me, like a father, tell all Catholics and non-Catholics their duties.
Yeah, here's the Pope reminding people of their duties. Conversion, firstly conversion, urgency of conversion. The first, the necessity of it, 41.
Christians must personally convert.
Yes, get to confession. Make retreats. Make days of recollection. Stay in the state of grace. Signs, positive signs of conversion. Michael 42.
Happily, we see signs of a widespread spiritual renewal.
But negatively, 43.
Unhappily, we also see many who are Christians in name only.
Virtues to practice: detachment, charity, justice, social justice. Detachment for the rich, 44. Michael?
Catholics must not be too attached to the natural goods of this world,
Natural?
material goods of this world.
Yes. Don't be too attached to the material goods of this world. Use them as if you used them not, says St. Paul. Detachment for the poor, 45.
The rich must consider themselves stewards. The poor must be patient.
Yeah, so the rich, if they have a lot, they're stewards. They should look after the poor that are in their area. The poor, and take care of them. But the poor must also not be revolutionary in killing the rich and stirring revolution, but be patient. Be patient. Carry the cross every day. See this wisdom of the church, charity tempering the greediness of the rich, charity tempering the hatred of the poor. You follow?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's only the Catholic Church can work this. No other institution can work this. Virtues to practice: charity, the utility, necessity, and fruit of charity. 46. Anthony.
Real charity, patient, kind, efficacious, best proves the church is with the workers.
Repeat.
Real charity, patient, kind, efficacious,
And efficacious.
and efficacious, best proves the church is with the workers.
Yes, so who can get down to the workers' level and really speak to them? It's the Catholic Church. By real charity, patient, kind, and efficacious. Right? So think of St. Peter Claver. When the Portuguese ships brought the Negroes from Africa, it was St. Peter Claver. He saw that they were just being dumped and left like garbage to be just sitting and rotting. And many of them came off after crossing the ocean who were sick. So St. Peter Claver became the servant of the Negroes, taking care of them, bringing them medicine, teaching their children, organizing homes for them. So that's an example of down nitty-gritty charity, we would say. Necessity of charity, 47.
To practice it, let all remember our Lord's solemn promise and warning. Matthew 25.
Matthew 25. I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was thirsty, you didn't give me to drink, right? So remember those words. Our judgment will depend on our charity, a lot of it. Charity, the fruit of the charity, 48.
To moderate expenses and renounce today's plentiful pleasures procures true peace.
Yes. Very good. The virtues to practice: justice, its demands, 49.
However, no charity dispenses from the strict obligations of justice.
So charity, yes, but justice must be observed as well. Otherwise, it's not real charity. Right? So it might be charity for the headmaster of the school to let a disorderly boy get away from being expelled once or twice. But if the boy keeps being bad and is getting worse, his charity would do a disservice to the school if he kept him. He has injustice to expel him because he's just breaking the rule. He's bringing in, for example, dirty magazines or sneaking a cell phone into the dorm and showing dirty pictures, let's just say. And he's cheating. He's teaching others how to cheat. He's breaking into the teachers' lockers. So such a boy, he has to be expelled after some warning. So it would be if charity was the only thing, it would be against the justice that's due to the good of the students. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
So when justice fails, it's not against, it's against charity. All right, an appeal, justice and appeal 50.
Employers, listen hereon to the church, and let her speak to your workers.
Employers, listen hereon to the church. Let her speak to your workers, to your employees. Social justice requirement 51.
The common good requires each to receive what he needs to play his part.
Workers' pay 52.
So the worker must be paid enough to provide decently for his family.
Yes, so if he has a big family, he should have a little more. An obstacle to social justice 53.
Hence, commercial competition must not prevent him from receiving this much.
An instrument 54.
To ensure justice and charity, Catholic quote-unquote corporations must be formed again.
Yeah, these corporations or guilds need to come back. And you have an imitation of the guilds with the unions. But the unions are often Masonic, deeply Masonic. And they pressure their employees, for example, if you want to keep your job, you better vote for so-and-so. Right? There's that pressure. Application of the church doctrine, practical conclusion. He's speaking to the bishops, of course. And what does he say?
Teach.
Teach. What are bishops supposed to do?
Teach.
What are bishops supposed to do?
Teach.
What does all the popes yell at as the duty of bishops?
To teach.
Yeah. And Bishop Williamson did teach. Up until, he taught the wrong thing the last 10 years. But not all of it was wrong. He taught a lot of good things as well. But we have to sort out the last 10 years. But before that, his teaching was great. He did so much good for the English-speaking world. And even in France, they looked up to him. Because at first, he was totally against the whole agreement with Rome. He did so much good. But whatever the deal was offered him, then after that, he kind of changed his tune. So a warning to all of us, Anyway, teach. Bishops teach. Necessity of teaching, 55.
Catholic teaching on these questions must be more widely known and studied.
Means of teaching, 56.
The Catholic press must teach the truth and uncover the enemy.
Yes, the Catholic press must be Catholic and aggressive. And then enemies know you got to infiltrate the Catholic press. Neutralize it. So look what happened to the National Catholic Register. What's the other one? National Enquirer. What are some other Catholic publications? St. Anthony's Guild, Catholic Charities. These have all been neutralized. They don't pound out the truth the way they're supposed to. Even the Angelus magazine became neutralized. That used to be a power, hard-hitting magazine. The Angelus. Do you know what the Angelus is?
Yes.
The SSPX magazine. Father Ken Novak was editor for a long time, and he put out some great articles. Hard-hitting, solid Catholic articles. And they always used to put out Archbishop Lefebvre's sermons, conferences. It was really some good stuff.
I think Father Paul Robinson's the editor now.
Yeah, he's editor now. So since 2012, Father Vangar, who was editor at the time, he put a letter and said, no longer are we going to be militant anymore and focusing on the polemics, but we're going to focus more on Gregorian chant, artistic stuff, and architecture. So they neutralized it. Deliberately. Because, saying the truth doesn't please the enemies. Saying the truth can be like salt on a wound for many people. Salt on a wound stings, but for many it's the only cure. It has to draw out the infection, right? So, the last good Catholic press today. I think you can conclude the Remnant overall. The Remnant does have great articles. It always has had great articles. So tribute to Michael Matt on those points. Just watch out for the danger of Unite the Clans being tradecumanism. That's what you got to be careful of. But I would say the Recusant definitely out of England. The Trumpet, it's not a paper, but it's a website. And then the catacombs.org. And then there's many other outlets that have a lot of good stuff, but you got to always decipher, what's Novus Ordo, what's liberal. Anyway, beware a trap. 57.
Communists are now tactics pretending to harmonize with Christianity.
Isn't that interesting? Communists are taking a smiley Christian face. Doesn't that remind you of Rome? Yeah, we'll let you have your Latin Mass. No problem. But it has to be approved by the bishop. You have to accept Vatican II. At least you can't preach so much against it anymore. You have to admit the new Mass is legitimate. Isn't that a communist tactic?
Yes.
Rome does it very well, modernist Rome. They do it very well. And Bishop Fillet, he said, it's not a trap. Pope Francis is not setting a trap. Well, it is a trap. Communists are now tactics pretending to harmonize with Christianity. Let's just take a look at that paragraph. Let me just take a quick look. That's paragraph 57. According to this booklet, which is from the Catholic Truth Society in England, so he's building his paragraphs according to this publication. So in your publication, what would it be?
Distrust
Our
of
paragraph 57 is a distrust of communist tactics in this one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you read it out loud, Guadalupe? 59.
Paragraph 59, Father?
The one that talks about tactics.
Oh, okay. On this point, we have already insisted in our allocution of May the 12th of last year, but we believe it to be a duty of special urgency, venerable brethren, to call your attention to it once again. In the beginning, communism showed itself for what it was in all its perversity, but very soon it realized that it was thus alienating the people.
Alienating. Turning against.
It has therefore changed its tactics and strives to entice the multitudes by trickery of various forms, hiding its real designs behind ideas that in themselves are good and attractive. Thus, aware of the universal desire for peace, the leaders of communism pretend to be the most zealous promoters and propagandists in the movement for world amity.
Yeah, world peace, peace between brotherhood, fraternity, sodality, right? Go on.
Yet at the same time, they stir up a class warfare which causes rivers of blood to flow, and realizing that their system offers no internal guarantee of peace, they have recourse to unlimited armaments, which is weapons. Under various names which do not suggest communism, they establish organizations and periodicals with the sole purpose of carrying their ideas into quarters otherwise inaccessible. They try perfidiously to worm their way even into professedly Catholic and religious organizations. Again, without receding an inch from their subversive principles, they invite Catholics to collaborate with them in the realm of so-called humanitarianism and charity, and at times even make proposals that are in perfect harmony with the Christian spirit and the doctrine of the Church. Elsewhere, they carry their hypocrisy so far as to encourage the belief that communism, in countries where faith and culture are more strongly entrenched, will assume another and much milder form. It will not interfere with the practice of religion. It will respect liberty or conscience. There are some even who refer to certain changes recently introduced into Soviet legislation as a proof that communism is about to abandon its program of war against God.
Next paragraph.
See to it, venerable brethren, that the faithful do not allow themselves to be deceived. Communism is intrinsically wrong.
Yeah, communism is intrinsically evil. So don't be fooled by their masks, their smiley masks, he's saying.
And no one who would save Christian civilization may collaborate with it in any undertaking whatsoever.
Exactly. You cannot collaborate with communists. You can't dialogue. And this applies to modernist Rome. That's why the Archbishop said, no dialogue. If you don't come back to the doctrine of all the good popes, sorry. We wait for your conversion. Go on.
Those who permit themselves to be deceived into lending their aid towards the triumph of communism in their own country will be the first to fall victims of their error.
Yeah, those who bring in communism, they're the first they kill. You know, somehow they're missing, heart attack, suicide.
And the greater the antiquity and grandeur of the Christian civilization in the regions where communism successfully penetrates, so much more devastating will be the hatred displayed by the godless.
Yes. So in South Africa, it's horrible, the brutality. I mean, massacres of the white farms. They just surround a family farm, and I'm not exaggerating. They go in and they just cruelly massacre and rape the families. One eyewitness told me that their neighbors, this happened to their neighbor, and they raped the guy's wife and daughters in front of the father, and then killed them in front of the father, and then tortured him with a blowtorch, and then sliced him up. I mean, it's brutal. This is what's going on in South Africa today. And then, of course, the news is all quiet about it. And it's been going on for over 30 years, 40 years. But in the name of apartheid, nobody does anything. You can't blame any blacks. That's how it's becoming here. The black criminals get away with murder, literally. But if it's a white one, well, he's sentenced to life and gets full justice. But the blacks go out back on the street after 2 years of prison. And these lawyers should be also put in prison for betraying society like that. You know? Anyway, so that's a little insight into the encyclical. It's very good, right? Yeah. Very, very, very good. All right. So, paragraph 57 again, Anthony.
Communists are now, tactics, pretending to harmonize with Christianity.
So they put on a nice face. Peace. We're working for peace also. Let's work together in dialogue. No. To beware. Avoid them. 58.
Communism is intrinsically evil. No collaboration is possible.
That's right. And now that modernist Rome is in the hand of communists and Judeo-Masons, you can't collaborate. It's not possible. Yeah, but he's the Pope. We have to obey him. Well, let the Pope come back to Catholic tradition first. Let him proclaim the kingship of Christ first. Then we know he's truly Pope. But if he's not teaching the faith, we can't collaborate. This is what Bishop Fillet and the leaders should be saying. But remedy, 59.
Communism is a devil, which only prayer and penance can drive out.
Well said. Good summary, Bishop Williamson, in his good days. Communism is not just human. It's diabolic. It's from hell. Prayer and penance alone can drive it out. John Venari had the CD that didn't work. it was our Lord revealed to a holy sister the devotion to the holy face of Christ as a remedy against communism. And you might say, well, why would the holy face be a remedy against communism? But think about it. Who denatures men to be just species on earth? Who tears the personality and reduces all men to material souls who die like dogs and who work like pigs and have no meaning in this life except to support the state?
The communists.
So who strips personality? Who strips laughter? Who strips the character, which is expressed in the face, right? So communism that defaces mankind and treats like babies. A beautiful little baby. Just imagine a little baby. Ever read those things in the 70s and 80s? And they used to publish a lot of things out. And it's like a little diary of a little baby. I'm 20 weeks old, and I can already feel my heart. I can wiggle my fingers. I am 3 months old, and I can hear my mom's voice, and I hear her heart beating, and I hear her laugh. I can't wait to see her. 6 months old. Oh, I can move my toes. I can stretch my arms. I can hear Dad. I can hear brothers and sisters. I can hear Mom singing. She has a beautiful voice. I can't wait to see her. 8th month. And the biography, the child, he says, I can move my arms. I feel so comfortable in Mom's womb, but I can't wait to get out and to see her. 9th month. Today my mother killed me. Right? This is going on all over the place. So, communism strips the character of people. So that's why I think the Holy Face, our Lord wanted the Holy Face, because the face captures the soul, the person, the character, the joy, the sorrow, right? It humanizes humans. And communism wants to strip that. So devotion to the Holy Face is the remedy. Adjutorium nostrum in nomine Domini.